to bed. I didn't wake up until 8 o'clock. Like 30 minutes ago, I woke up. I'm just letting you know. I had that much sleep. It wasn't all in one sleep. You know, I have that 2 o'clock waking up thing and then going back to sleep, but that's more sleep than I think I've had in some of the weeks. I'll be honest with you. And of course, I freeze everything when I leave out of town. I freeze my milk, I freeze my bread, I freeze anything that's sitting out that can be frozen and unfrozen when I get back to preserve it so I don't have to keep buying, you know, groceries and stuff like that. So I get up this morning, and usually I take the milk out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator, and you know, by morning I'll have some milk. At least it'll still be a little frozen, but I'll have something for a latte. Well, I forgot to take the milk out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator. So now I have no latte this morning. The one thing I was looking forward to when I got home, the one thing I didn't get the whole time I've been gone, right? A latte. And so this is the coffee of champions this morning, a Coca-Cola Zero. I need caffeine. I got no milk. So we're going to the next best thing. So welcome to the Coca-Cola Club. I'm just going to say people are probably going to talk about that one, okay? It's okay being the coffee club, but once you start going to the cola club, people are going to be looking at you a little sideways, okay? We're like, what kind of cola are we talking about here, ma'am? Just know whatever happens, what mean people are saying, we are here for you. Listen, many people know some things rub me the wrong way, some things get under my skin. I say whatever. I know that the stuff that's going around. This is a very complex case in Pennsylvania, and it might be just too complex. From what I read yesterday, they're going to be appealing the decision. I support whatever they're doing 100%. Obviously, I'm a plaintiff in it, but, you know, we're taking direction from an attorney, right? So I am going to, because you got to look at it this way. So I'm not sure what happened with the whole judge recusing himself, but I think I'm piecing some of the stuff together. And if it is about the video I did, which I don't think it is, because he was talking about getting death threats by phone and email, but you know what, he wasn't very clear. So I don't know if he was, you know, because we know Clue knows the judge. We feel that there was already ex parte communications going on long before, you know, this. And so him recusing himself was a good thing. I jumped all over it. I don't want that man presiding over me. There's something wrong with him. He does not like me. I don't care. I don't know him. I really don't care. I think it was a great option for me, and I think I made the right decision. And of course, you know, most people that have their egos kind of ding throw temper tantrums. Now, I don't know if that temper tantrum was for me or if he's really getting death threats. I don't know. I don't trust these people in this county. Everybody knows that. What I can tell you is if it's related to that video that was spliced all together, had two different subject matter topics and tried to imply that I'm threatening a judge, they just committed a crime. Because that just interfered with proper judicial process. And if I find out that's what the case may be, I will be pushing for the proper people to be held accountable for that, because I know exactly who manufactured that video, spliced it together, and we will have the emails of the people and the telephone numbers of the people that called that judge. So if they interfered and literally started emailing him stuff to interfere with because a judge cannot have ex parte communications. You cannot bias the judge with emails and stuff like that, because they're forced to recuse themselves. And if I find out that this team of misfits, including Clue, that knows the judge, we've got her saying that she knows the judge very, very, very well. If we find out that they're the ones that Chris and Katie Proudfoot's clique of people are disrupting court proceedings, my attorneys and I will have absolutely something to say about that. So I pray to God that that's not going on, and I pray to God that they are not going to do that again, because if they do, I will be demanding charges. I will be demanding people be held accountable. You cannot disrupt judicial process. It is a crime in this country to do. I don't know if it's a misdemeanor. I don't know if it's a felony, but I have to think if you're continuously doing it, it will rise very quickly to a higher criminal element. But I did see where the video originated from. That has been sent over to my attorney. Now, again, we don't know what it's about, but I have to take all precautions necessary in case that's what they did. You did split, you could see differently that they were two totally different time frames, totally different areas, me in totally different clothes, and you could see it was spliced together. Because it's coming out of my mouth, and I don't really forget a whole lot, dates and, you know, gets a little hairy and stuff like that, but I can always remember certain things. But when it comes to my speech and the conversations I have, because these are shows, and so some of the topics are a little rougher, some of my excitement's a little bit different, I can identify exactly which shows those came from, and they were on completely different subject matters totally. One was based on the laws of Tennessee and the future of the youngsters. One was the content creators willfully hurting an innocent father. Two totally different subject matters, two totally different time frames, and they were spliced together and put out there. Now, they could have heard what the judge said, you know, went and picked these things up and spliced it and started passing that around to drive the narrative. But if that's exactly what they did, and they actually interfered with court proceedings over this bunk spliced video that does not put into context what was really said, that is disrupting court proceedings. You forced a judge to recuse himself. You should be held accountable for liability of that. And we are going to be pushing whoever the parties are that did this are held accountable. You cannot do that. What you did was wrong, and you literally had a judge recuse himself. So if that's not interfering with court proceedings, I don't know what is. So we'll see how it all goes down. I know he's doing a thorough investigation on this situation, and I hope the proper parties are held accountable for this montage and trying to force a judge to be biased against me. Trying to put your finger on the scales of justice. Yeah, we know we're in the lion's den. We know that there's a lot of backdoor dealings going on here. But, you know, they also have to realize there's an appeal going on. And the judges have to be very, 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 very careful because all of this stuff will eventually be flushed out at some point. And so I think the judge, in light of what I found out, did the right thing. Sorry guys, I have to blow my nose. It's still morning. I'm still waking up. I'm sorry. So I just wanted to come here. I was meaning to come here last night to tell you guys that. Hold on a second. Let me get out of here. I feel like there's something. I don't want to make you guys gross out first thing in the morning. So let me just go ahead and just get myself cleaned up here. Okay, I'm cleaned up. Sorry, my hair was up and now it's down, so it's got a little funky lay because it's usually up. But I came here last night, and of course I was hearing Granny's watching and stuff like that. I didn't watch her. I was just hearing about it. A lot of people, as you know, sent me emails. I don't watch her stuff. I will never watch her stuff. I don't believe anything that comes out of that lady's mouth. She's just pure trash. But I'm not worried, and that's what I told everybody. I don't know what's going on. People have reached out to me. Did you hear this? Did you hear that? And I'm like, no, I'm on the road. You know, I had to prepare for a meeting with another attorney. So I had a lot of stuff going on, even with my travels back to Florida. So I didn't have time to really pay attention to what was going on in, you know, the ether. And then I found out, hey, Melanie, it's nice to see you. I'll say hi to you guys in just a second. And so I started getting some information, and like I told everybody, is that I'm not really worried about it because it sounds, from everything they said, is it's whatever was dismissed, it was dismissed without prejudice. I didn't know how they were ruling on the anti-SLAPP. It sounds like whatever their rulings were, it's moved up to the appellate court, or going to be moved up to the appellate court. And then we have also, it's without prejudice, so they have the right to refile this thing. And I don't know what they're planning on doing with that, but if it's without prejudice, they have a right to refile. If it's with prejudice, that's a little bit of a different story, but either way, it'll all be fleshed out in appellate court. I know that this new age stuff is hard for especially older judges to grasp, but at the end of the day, we're going to keep pushing it. From what I understand, we're going to keep pushing until somebody listens. You do not have a right to destroy people's lives. You guys are watching in real life what these people are capable of. They are capable of manipulating judges. They're capable of forcing judges off the bench. They're capable of a lot of trauma. They're capable of manufacturing stuff for the appearance. They're illusionists on this channel. That's all they are. They're illusionists. They're the Oompa Loompa Club of illusionists. And that's what they sell, illusions. They don't sell the truth, because if they sold the truth, they wouldn't have problems just letting my speech be in its full context instead of clipping I have an hour show and they clip 20 seconds of an hour-long show and then take another show, an hour-long show, and clip, 30 or 40 seconds from this hour-long show. It's bullshit. And they're trying to manufacture the appearance of improper stuff. I'm going to speak the way I speak no matter what. I don't care if it's a judge. I don't care if it's a lawyer. I don't care if it's a police officer. I don't care if it's just a dirtbag. I don't care if it's these people. I'm going to speak my truth. We are on here every day. We speak about these cases every day. I have a lot of opinions, and I'm entitled to those opinions, whether people like them or not. Whether the opinions I say may embarrass a judge, may embarrass a police officer, may embarrass a guilty parent of child abuse, or what the case may be, even worse, right? This boy was abused. There's a history of abuse from his home, and he is all of a sudden missing after his mother was provided an ultimatum, him or me. That's all. What do you deduct from that? We also learned that he doesn't play games. We also learned his stepfather is completely a control freak and would not allow him to have a phone or any type of contact to the outside world. He was isolated from anybody and everybody inside that home. This is a classic domestic issue. This is classic. All the check boxes: isolation, check. Mental abuse, check. We can identify that, because what do you call taking this child's underwear away and making him stay and live in diapers? That's not abuse. That's not mental abuse of a child. When his father says he has no problem with continence issues over at his dad's house, this child, his body is indicating he was in fear of something. That's what that problem tells you, that there was some type of fear and or abuse inside a home, because normal children just don't start losing their continence. Okay, they don't have, it's regression. Well, it's funny that only regression happened at their house and nobody else's. Because I believe when Seth says his son never had those types of problems at his house, I believe it. He had a much more relaxed environment that understood his son and his son's, disabilities. And he was able to gracefully work around his son's disabilities and explain things to his son in a way his son understood. And it was not that he wasn't a dad, not that his son didn't get mad at him, not that he wasn't, like a normal parent with a teenage child in their home. But he wasn't abusive toward his son, and he always wanted his son to know that he could do anything he wanted to do. Whereas in the other house, he was called an artard and God knows what else, a P-U-S-S-Y, and we hear how Mr. Chris likes to egg people on, right? He likes to act like a really, really big tough guy online by telling everybody, oh yeah, come to my house, let me show you, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't even go to his house. I drove by his house with a camera stuck out, and that apparently is the most fearful thing in the entire world for this man, so much so that a month later he decided to craft, and him and his family decided to craft a affidavit, right? That I was this horrible person stalking them. Well, I was in Florida the entire month of July. At what point was I stalking them in July? That was the crux of their July 25th affidavit. I'd like to know, at what point I was stalking them. But I guess those are going to be fleshed out in court at some point. So we're just going to keep going down this road. We keep collecting money. We keep putting it in the legal fund. I just expect this stuff to eventually, I know they're going to be pulling and tugging because I really truly believe everybody is totally wrong in this situation, and I think they all know it. This is not something, I'm dealing with legal scholars here. They're not idiots, and I'm not going to sit here. So what I do believe is that what they are doing is 100% intentional, willful, deliberate, and malicious. And that's going to be my stance from this point forward on. It's going to be my stance from this point forward on. And we're going to keep fighting, and because I'm not having this on my record. So there's going to be hell to pay at some point. So we're just delaying the inevitable. That's all I'm going to say. Figuratively, now that I have to say figuratively speaking for hyperbole, because apparently people can't understand I have a right to even be sarcastic. I have a right to say things. I have a right, this place, they'll call this place Communist Sumner County. I think that's the most appropriate name for that place is Communist Sumner County, because they actually think that they control how people walk, talk, and what they say online. And good gracious, don't forget those fucking hashtags, right? Because, oh my God, those hashtags, the Dewey Decimal System of Google, it's going to take you down. It's going to take you down. Oh my gosh, we were contacted. How were you contacted? Well, our friends called us and told us about how erratic this lady was. Oh, so your friends did it. People that support you did it. But this lady didn't. No? Do you have any evidence or information to provide this court to say that she instructed people to do that? No. Why? Because they were their friends. They were people that supported them, reaching out to them. That's going to be... They're stretching this an awful lot. I'm done with the conversation about court. I'm going to let my attorneys handle it. But I do not trust this county. I've said that from the very beginning. The stuff that they have put me through... I don't know what else to say. I guess I don't understand if the judge knew about these threats and recused himself within minutes. Why not assign a different judge before the hearing? Because I think he was weighing it on his mind, whether he was going to do the right thing or not. Because exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said. He was going to allow those proceedings to go forward. But I think he understood, and I think he knows for a fact, no matter what, we're appealing all of this. If it does not, there's no way hashtags contact people. Anybody out here in the social media or Google world knows that. And now if they want to try to act like they're stupid, they can. I don't think these people are stupid. I think they know that there was no contact here. But because of their the people that fund their campaigns might be behind there. We know that Second Generation is a developer. I deal with developers all the time in my community, and I know that they have a lot of pull when it comes to our county commission and our board of county commissioner and our city councils. That's why I'm in there all the time. I want to make sure that my politicians are bought and paid for by these developers. They only have a few developers in that area. Second Generation is one of their top ones, so they have a lot of political pull. And this is one of their family members. And this is, I think that I'm not going to say too much about it, but I think that the elements that I will eventually need to bring will be there. So we'll just keep moving forward with what we're doing. I knew going into this was going to be an uphill battle. Even if everything was dismissed the very next day, I knew that this was going to be several years long. And it's going to be several years long because this is not over. They have picked a scab with Bullhorn Betty. They have violated my rights. And this is not about me anymore. This is about just content creators in general. We are press. We have freedom of press, no different than mainstream media. And it is time for somebody to hear this and understand it. And so this is going to be, for me and for social media, in my opinion, a historical situation because it's going to allow us to move forward in our jobs. And it's going to give me vindication first and foremost, but it's going to give me the power to show this point forward. Social media has a right to be there. We have a right to drive by homes, take photos of crime scenes. We have a right to do everything any other journalist is allowed to do. It's not stalking. I drove by a fucking house with a camera hanging out of my car to get context of what it looked like at night. Not a crime. Even if I wasn't a journalist and I was just a looky-loo. Still not a crime. None of this is a crime. They're taking nothing and making something. But they cannot make nothing out of something for two people that abused their child, have a history with the Department of Children and Family Services, a history with counselors outlining the types of abuse he felt he was receiving from his home. And they did nothing until he disappeared. They still are doing nothing. And Sumner County, mark my words, Well, by the time this whole court proceeding and everything is resolved with Chris and Katie and the Bowerstocks, I guarantee Sumner County would have spent more time and more money on Bullhorn Betty than they did looking for this child here or spending the resources on this child. When I found out that Seth had to wait for funds to be available for them to print flyers of his son, the law enforcement, they have no money. Or he's just not important enough. He's just not important enough. Because they're telling Seth when he goes up there they have to wait for the budget to allow them to print flyers. Do you want to hear that from a department that's supposed to be investigating your missing child? Would you like to hear that from the department that's supposed to be investigating your child, that they don't even have the money to print the effing flyers? Asking for a few friends. Asking for a few friends. Wouldn't that scare the crap out of you? As a parent of a missing child, if you went to your sheriff's office for more flyers and they told you, well, I don't know if we got it in the budget this month. What in the ever-loving you-know-what? So we've got a law enforcement department that dropped the ball at the beginning of the case. They didn't do forensics, and we don't even know if they've ever done forensics in this boy's room. They definitely did not follow the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and we wonder why the sheriff, as well as the judges, as well as the Proudfoots, want to shut me up. I've never had this many people try to shut one girl up before. Pretty interesting. Pretty stinking interesting. But I digress, guys. I'm back home. We're going to have a later live today. I've got a lot of paperwork to do. I've got some emails to draft. I got some discovery to proofread. I got more discovery to draft. I got some work today, so I'm going to be kind of hit and miss. I know it's Friday, but it feels like a Monday to me. So I've got a lot of crap I got to get up and do. I'm waiting for milk to thaw out so I can have some coffee. I probably won't get out of this bed until I can actually have a cup of coffee. Because I gotta tell you, my body it's exhausted. I can feel it. Like even when I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning, even I had to have had about 5 hours. I should have been, a lot more rested than I felt. And I didn't at all. And so, oh yeah, I know what I was gonna do. We're not gonna go yet. Let's go through some things. I wanted to read this to you because I think this is important. It's from At Night. I might as well just read it verbatim. I'm pretty sure you guys may have already seen it, but for those that have not, I think they did a post yesterday. Oops. Yeah, 6 hours ago. Here it is. This is what it says. It says, statement on this preliminary injunction ruling and continued commitment to the search of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. This is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One World and At Night acknowledges the court's decision this week regarding preliminary injunction request tied to ongoing legal matters involving individuals alleged to have interfered with the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who has now been missing for over a year. We will be filing a direct appeal in response to remain confident in the strength and integrity of our position. We fully respect the authority of the court and recognize the complexity of this case, particularly in light of more than 7,000 pages of exhibits, filing, and evidentiary documentation submitted across multiple jurisdictions. While we respectfully disagree with the outcome of the ruling, we understand the court was asked to evaluate a narrow legal issue within a far broader and rapidly evolving context. This case has come to represent a documented pattern of coordinated intimidation. Now we can add intimidating a judge. Coordinating intimidation, digital sabotage. They disrupted my court proceeding with digital sabotage. And increasing real-world escalation. As recently as this week, individuals either directly or indirectly connected to a matter have publicly acknowledged their involvement in these efforts. Additional legal remedies are under review while we continue pursuing both criminal and civil avenues against several individuals suspected of obstructing, endangering, or exploiting this case. We are committed to a lawful and measured approach. This includes continued intelligence collection and internal preservation of evidence related to the acts of doxing, cyberstalking, and direct threats made toward government officials, contractors, investigators, and legal personnel. Alarmingly, these coordinated harassment efforts has expanded to volunteers, public commentators, and private citizens, some of whom were targeted for simply sharing a flyer or speaking publicly about Sebastian's case. These intimidation tactics have only strengthened our resolve. Our protective and intelligence-based operation will continue without interruption. So we are, there's a lot of evidence gathering, but these people act like nobody can see and nobody can see anything, or it's going to be so complicated a judge doesn't want to do it. I can tell you my commitment to higher up seeing this case, my commitment to making sure that laws are in place, that this doesn't happen again, that people are held to accountable for their actions and their inactions are going to be very well this is a step in the right direction to start crafting the landscape for laws on social media. They know it, we know it. We're going to continue going down this avenue with it. And we've got cases going on all over the country right now because of stuff like this. I'm fighting with Queen Bee. I'm fighting with the asshats in Pennsylvania. There's going to be some more lawsuits that sounds like it's going to be rolling out soon in Tennessee. We're going to I can only imagine, well, I was going to say in California, but it sounds like California, the idiot came to us, so he's part of that case, and I truly believe that once this goes to the appellate court, it has to be heard, that it's going to be heard a little bit better, but we don't know, I don't know what the laws are in Pennsylvania. I don't study the laws in Pennsylvania. I'm glad we have Joseph Lesniak representing us, and, obviously he's an attorney from Pennsylvania that understands that stuff. They tell me I understand the legal understanding of it, they can say this, and this, I know what process we're in, and I trust them to deal with all the legal stuff on their end. So like I told them yesterday, this is not something that I'm worried about at all, because I'm going through the process right now with Queen Bee, and it's been, back and forth, and going through the stuff in Tennessee, it's been back and forth. I mean, obviously the decisions aren't final until the fat lady sings, right? So we have our options to take it away from that, the lower courts and move it on up to the higher courts. I think that at the end of the day, one of our goals of this case, was so that it brings change. It brings change, and it starts putting some good precedent on the books. So this is not the best avenue, but I think that once they start getting up the food chain and start explaining to, and I think they can talk about the procedural stuff too. But I don't know what the focus of the case in PA will be. I just know that we're fighting like hell to stop the harm that these people are doing. There's one thing to have freedom of press, and you can talk shit all day long, but when you start causing people to fear for their safety, such as calling them a pedo when they work in a jail, start saying, you don't have carte blanche rights to say anything you want to say about anybody, okay? You can't run into a building and scream fire. It is a crime, right? Just like you can't go and manufacture deception and try to wield an entire community to follow. I mean, let's talk about it. They show up at people's houses. They keep all over there denying that they do it. Well, it's funny because there's only a small group of people that hate this group of people. This group of people is never accused of sending people over to this group of people's houses, but every time there's a disagreement between these group of people, people start showing up at people's houses, people start doing dirty things, people start reaching out to people's probation officers when it's completely irrelevant to a case. They do anything and everything to destroy a person. This is not commentary that is protected. Those actions are not protected under the Constitution. I'm sorry, they're just not. They're willfully trying to destroy lives as opposed to talking about a subject matter. We talk about this case. We say what we think. We think his mom and stepdad is responsible for this child's disappearance. A lot of the public perception believes that the mom and the father of this child had something to do with his disappearance. We're not going out of our way to destroy these parents. They did that to themselves when they disappeared their child, allegedly and in my opinion. Okay? Us talking about it doesn't allow somebody to try to destroy our lives because we're trying to make sense of this matter. We're not doing that to them. They've got no phone calls to them. They've got nobody following them. Nobody really cares about them. Right? The only way that they can get attention is doing this disgusting behavior over here. It will catch up with them because this fight is not going away. No, they do not have a constitutional right to destroy another person that they do not know's life. The Constitution says nothing about that. Nothing at all. The Constitution doesn't willfully say, if you don't like somebody, you can try to have a judge bias by flooding his personal email. And let's not forget who knew the judge. Who went up here on these platforms and said she knew the judge? Cluminati. How did the judge's email be circulated? Right? How was the judge's email circulated? I don't even know the judge's email. Don't even know the judge's phone number. It's awfully funny that stuff that should not be going to a judge that's presiding over my case is going to a judge's personal and private emails and phone numbers. So, again, criminals committing crimes. And everything always links back to Chris and Katie Proudfoot and their lynch mob of a team that is filled with felons. Felons! Sumner County is so busy covering up for these nasty-ass people at the expense of somebody that did not commit a crime in their community for what? A distraction? So their lack thereof in this case is not front and center? Well, every time they turn it to me and people come over here to listen to what I got to say, I have an opportunity to explain how horrible their investigative practices were, because that's what got me in hot water with the sheriff, right? He doesn't like me because I basically said that they dropped the ball on this case because they did. And the egos in Tennessee never seem to amaze me that they get hurt feelings so bad, they feel so humiliated that somebody calls them out when they do terrible things. They're not used to social media. Well, knock knock. I have a voice. I'm in a country called America where I'm allowed to use that voice any damn way I want to. I'm not in an area of screaming fire, but I am saying we got a lot of bozos running the county. trouble? You're damn right it's getting me in trouble. Do you think I care? No. Why am I doing this? Because I want to show how malicious these people truly are. The more they want to shut me up, the more I speak about the issues that they're trying to shut me up about. I guess they could get a gag order, right? Those unconstitutional gag orders, they don't mind following the law any other time, so why not? That judge could have gagged me if she so chose. It would have been appealed immediately, but she could have, right? Alright guys, that's my bitch for the morning. I just got back. That's everything kind of in a nutshell that I felt that I needed to say this morning. I'm going to get up and try to start my day. Hi Delilah. Delilah's wagging her tail. You couldn't see her because... Come say hi. Come say hi. Nobody's seen you in a really long time. She's alive, my baby girl. She's happy and healthy, and she loves everyone. Let me say thank you. I saw some people give super chats and stickers and stuff. Let me go over here. Aw, thank you. So we have Outer Banks. I didn't even heart these. Just know what the landfill. They got something out of the landfill. I don't know what it is, but they got something out of the landfill. Somebody sent me this. Where is it? Did I send it to myself? Hold on a second. Let me refresh here. That's 20 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna play this, but I want you guys. Let me see if I can turn this down a little bit. Hold on a second. Let's see how we're gonna do this. I think that's how I gotta do it. Hold on a second. The last 20 seconds.
Thank you, Mark. A backhoe digs through mounds of trash at a Kentucky landfill. It's the latest effort
Okay.
to search for a
So you guys know it's at the landfill. So let's go here. So it's right here.